Hello, everybody. Today we are going to talk something about artificial intelligence. Okay, why we have to talk about this is because most of the things that any kind of work or work environment or any kind of things need possibly what is called intelligence. Okay, so there are different fields of intelligence. Okay, fields of intelligence, the sense like process intelligence. Then you have data intelligence. Then you have so clustering intelligence, and so many other network intelligence and different kinds of things. What does that intelligence mean actually? Okay, what does AI mean? Okay, artificial intelligence is intelligence perceiving, synthesizing, and inferring information demonstrated by machines as opposed to humans and other things. Okay, what AI means? Artificial intelligence is a simulation of human intelligence processed by machines, especially computer systems. Specific applications of AI include expert system, natural language processing, speech recognition, and machine vision. So the basic IO is vision, speech, language, and some kind of expert systems. Okay, of how to use the natural language and process them and based on what you see and things like that. So basically, all the different things are something to do with IO. IO in the sense input output. Basically, see the machine vision is a IO, speech is an IO, then language processing is a little bit higher on how to process the language in your brain and things like that. And AI include expert systems also. So finding a particular expert in a particular area is called a expert systems. So artificial intelligence is quite complex. Okay, the first thing is you have to have artificial intelligence working in different fields. Different fields in the sense it can do process management, it can do time management, it can do data optimization. You can do so there are different things it can do other than just vision control, speech recognition, and language processing. There are different kinds of processing, also processing methods. Methods also is a kind of method optimization, method difference, new method inventions. Those are all new process inventions. Those are all something to do with artificial intelligence. So when you're going from one place to another place, then you find new paths and avenues and things like that. And sometimes it may be the shortest path. Sometimes you may be using another path just to make sure that you're safe or something. Sometimes the path might be you might be using a different path because the other path uh, is not it's out of service or something like that. So these kind of things are all done by artificial intelligence. How it does all these things? How do you know all these things? It's just like routing table and other things. It's just like basically a routing table kind of thing, where it's going to find the search for a particular path or something or so. So the basic concept is something to do with routing. So routing is something to do with address, okay, IP address, and something to do homing in on particular region with different paths available and just trying to find the specific path which is going to be used. And it might be a permanent kind of path or it might be a variable kind of path. So variable kind of path is always used to switch over from one thing to another thing and kind of go progress in your uh, endeavor and reach the particular goal. Okay, so the basic idea is starting from somewhere, reaching a particular goal and a specific target, and that is the basic idea of artificial intelligence. How does it do it? Okay, so it is not a big magic or something like that. Okay, so people usually think artificial is a huge area and it is a kind of new magic and kind of things, and it is a kind of like very difficult to learn and something like that. No, it is basically consists of two things. Okay, one is called filtering. Okay, so you're going to filter something. Okay, filter something, and there are other things what is called constraints. Okay, so filtering and constraints, these two things work together to form what is called a intelligence. Okay, filtering and forwarding is already done by routing algorithms and other things. Okay, it is going to some kind of store some kind of information to do that particular kind of filtering and forwarding. Okay, so the basic level of doing all these things is just to do filtering and forwarding, and manipulating the filtering and forwarding structures based on what you how you want to achieve a particular goal. Say you're sending a packet through the router network, so it is going to go through different things, paths, and find out the different routes, and it is going to home in on a particular route, which is the fastest route, which is most efficient, which is the cost, the data transfer, the amount of services that are, these are all something to do with what is called constraints. Okay, so based on a specific constraint, it's going to do some kind of work for you to find the best kind of route, or kind of take another alternative, then keep track of other alternatives. So these are the two things that is done by things. Okay, so finding a best pathway, and then keeping an alternative as a storage kind of information so that it can use them later. So those kind of things. So it's something to do with weights and pathways. Okay, so basic weights are given based on whether you achieved the goal. Okay, the first time it achieves the goal, it is going to store that kind of information. Then it is, if it is the second time, it is going to use a different path, and it is going to use the same thing, and it is achieving a different the goal through a different method, which is shorter and faster and those things. So the parametric evaluation is done right there based on what is better, what is not better, and things like that. So this is, so there is some kind of data storage for that, and based on the different constraints that are given. So constraints is a basic thing that is used in artificial intelligence. Okay, another one is filtering and forwarding. Filter means just nothing. Okay, so it is just like it is a kind of say you are cooking or something like that. Okay, so you're going to do a process filtering. What is process filtering? Process filtering is how to do that particular method of finally getting the cooked food on your table. Okay, so there you're doing what is called a process filtering. Process filtering is, oh, I don't want this, I don't want that. Okay, you can have this. So you have to cook it for 80 in 80 degrees centigrade for 5 minutes or 10 minutes, so that the milk is cooked, and this is the right kind of milk that is available. So this is for process. Okay, as for materials also, there is another other thing. So data and process, these are the two things involved in kind of restructuring that is involved in, and doing the filtering and doing the taking the proper channel is what is done by artificial intelligence. So machine learning and deep learning, these two things are a little bit different. Machine learning is a kind of lowest level of IO processing. Okay, and deep learning something to do with higher levels of storing all the information in case of alternative that those are needed. Okay, as for time requires and other things, time constraints and other things, based on time constraints it works. Okay, so putting a different algorithm for a particular process is what is done by artificial intelligence. Okay, so you can do process filtering, you can do data filtering, you can do other kinds of filtering or logical filtering, then you can do other kinds of, to arrive at a particular intelligent level of learning all these different methods and other things, and storing it those information, and kind of using them as and when needed. So basically a routing table and other things are all using some kind of intelligence, spanning tree protocol, routing intelligence, and switching intelligence, and higher video conferencing. Even video conferencing has some kind of intelligence built into it because of the channel assignment, how much of buffer requirements, those are going to be optimized on the way through to the end from the beginning. So this also uses some kind of AI intelligence to find out the best network to send a particular video, or where the channel availability is extremely huge. So you may not be using a particular route for a for where the channel is available and you're not using it, and it might find the new channel and then send it on to other things, and then automatically route on the particular. So the AI intelligence is not like actually it's a kind of, they call it artificial because it is a kind of, it's a kind of just the basic things of filtering and constraints. So based on constraints, if they work, and based on filtering they work, then immediately they do what is called, it is called an artificial. So the lowest level you can understand this. Okay, when you go higher, like machine learning, deep learning, algorithms, and things like that. So the algorithm is basically a process of process filtering and data filtering. Okay, so when algorithms work, they do only two basic things. One is process filtering, another one is data filtering, and another one is constraint modulation kind of things. Okay, so any kind of work thing that is going to be done with input output or IO, then it is going to be called machine learning. Okay, those kind of the spectrum on which it is going to be. You need to do with high levels of processing like a GPU or a CPU or a CPU kind of thing, then it is going to be called deep learning. Okay, so the deep learning process is a different thing, and the machine learning process is this slight variation. That's all. Okay, it's going to be the same kind of thing, but it is some part of it is going to be IO, some part of it is some kind of knowledge acquisition and other things. Okay, so when you go into knowledge acquisition and other things, it is the same thing that happens process of filtering and finding the better path and things like that. Okay, so giving weights to each one of those paths and finding the switching over, finding alternate methods and things like that. Those are the basic levels of artificial intelligence. So you don't have to, kind of, it is machine learning. So it is bad. So you say you have a machine or something like that, it'll teach them to, kind of move from one place to another place. The next time it learns the same thing. And finally, the next time when you move from the same place to another place with a different path around, and it learns also that. Okay, so it's a slow process of learning each one of those things and finding better methods and using some of the things as and when required. So if we have an object right in between of the path, then it's going to take a different path. So this kind of learning slow structures of IO plus a kind of higher level of storage for processing the things, that is called an artificial. One artificial intelligence is going to have all this the filtering models are going to be stored in the main memory, and it's going to be used for every process and every data types and every data structures and other things. So this kind of thing is called artificial intelligence. Okay, so don't think it is too complex or something like that. It is just a simple thing, but it is a kind of as a number of constraints and other things, number of variables, number of constraints, all these things increases, then it is going to be a little bit more complex of learning new things. Okay, and finding out new methods is the kind of thing which artificial intelligence. What is AI used for? Artificial intelligence makes it possible for machine to learn from experience, adjust to new inputs, and perform human-like tasks. Most AI examples that you hear about today, from just playing computers to self-driving cars, rely heavily on deep learning and natural language processing. So, some of the things like for AI cars, they do natural language. So if you give a command to move from here to there, then the first thing is natural language processing. Then it is going to do deep learning process where it is going to understand the process of what you mean by move from here to there. So the command is, you know, interpreted, and then after that interpreted, then it is going to have store it as a kind of deep learning, and it is going to do that particular kind of work, and it's going to find all the paths and store some of the information, then what it means and things like that. Okay, what are the four types of artificial intelligence? There are a lot of ongoing discoveries and developments, most of which are divided into four categories: reactive machine, limited memory, theory of mind, and self aware AI. Okay, self aware AI is the highest level of artificial intelligence. So, usually, if you are, if the machine is aware means basically knowing the constraints. Okay, so when you know your constraint, when you know that your human brain can think only this much, okay, it can do only this much, and your hand can only this lift so much of weight, these are called constraints. So understanding the entire human body, how it will work, and how much you can weight clear, these are constant. Knowing the constraints is called what is called self-aware AI. Okay, so the definition of self-aware is something to do with knowing the constraint and working on those boundaries to achieve higher goals. How does an AI work? Okay, AI works by combining large amounts of data with fast, interactive processing and intelligence algorithms, allowing a software to learn automatically from patterns or features in the data. Okay, so patterns and features in the data. So every new kind of IO is integrated, then it starts, doing some kind of pattern recognition or something to do with, kind of like recognizing some of the things and finding intelligent algorithms to home in on a particular kind of goal. Okay, so there is something called a goal, achievement goal, and achievement quotation. So if you achieve a goal through faster methods, then it is given a higher weight. Okay, so the weight is based basically on higher. So it is to achieve a particular goal, the kind of filtering you do. Okay, for the particular routing algorithm, something like that. Okay, so process filtering and data filtering. These are the and methods filtering. These are all the different things that are used as ordinary machine learning and deep learning algorithms. What is AI example? A virtual assistant like Siri is an example of an AI that will access your contacts, identify the word mom, and call the number. These assistants use NLP, ML, statistical analysis, and algorithm execution to decide what you are asking for and trying to get it for you. Voice and image search work in much the same way. So you have voice and image work in the same way. It is going to give you an assistance of NLP and ML statistical analysis. So it's good to do some kind of statistical analysis to do those kind of processing. Statistical analysis means basically filtering and forwarding only. A kind of filtering methods which are stored for process, and it's a kind of algorithms, filtering algorithms that are stored as a kind of data. These two are the two things, and even the constraints are kind of it's a kind of constraint filtering also is another method that is used. So when you type something on Google, then immediately these are the three parameters of storage of things, okay, which happens, and they use it for different kinds of uh, you know getting the intelligence. Who invented AI? Stanford, John McCarthy, uh, seminal figure of artificial intelligence. For McCarthy created artificial intelligence, almost towering figure in computer science at Stanford most of his professional life. So he was working in Stanford University for quite a long time before he died in 84 or something like that. Okay, but we don't know when he was born and things. So mostly from Stanford's John McCarthy. What are two different what are two benefits of AI? The following are the primary advantages for AI. Drives down the time taken to perform a task. So first thing is AI is time optimization. It enables multitasking, eases the workload for existing resources, all enables execution of. So basically it works on resource constraint, resource reduction, and constraint to do a particular thing, and it is also using a time constraint to do some of things. AI enables execution of hitherto complex tasks within significant cost outlays. So basically, these are all parameters: cost, time, and resources. These are all different kinds of constraint parameters which is used. Constraint parameters are, advantage parameters that they are going to use for doing a specific task. What is AI in real life? Voice assistant, image recognition for face unlocked in cell phones, and ML-based financial fraud detection are examples of AI software currently being used in everyday life. Typically, just downloading AI software from an online store and having no other devices is required. So you have to download for a particular expert system. You have to download the AI and then use that AI. Where is AI used today? Manufacturing and production. So the major things that are used for in intelligence in AI is manufacturing and production, livestock and inventory management, self-driving cars or autonomous vehicles, healthcare and medical imaging analysis. Sometimes we use in healthcare and medical. Who is the father of AI? Who is the John McCarthy is the father of AI, where he is known as face for artificial intelligence today. What are the four risk dangers of AI? Risk of artificial automation, spurred job loss, privacy violations, deep fakes, algorithm bias caused by bad data, socioeconomic inequality, market battle, weapons, automation. These are the different kinds of risk of artificial intelligence. So artificial can intelligence go into different path of routing, and you can use all these things for you. So you have the risk of all these things. Okay, those kind of things are there. What is the best AI? The 10 best artificial software AI release comparison table of AI software, Google Cloud Machine Learning. So Google Cloud Machine Learning is a kind of algorithm because so cloud is the best thing right now available are the Google Cloud Machine Learning. So if you ask for anything, it immediately responds with an Azure Machine Learning Studio, TensorFlow, S20 AI, Cortana, okay. So you can get Cortana also, IBM, Watson, Salesforce, Einstein. So these are Salesforce, Einstein you basically use for sales kind of division. So the different domains on which it works, okay. Some of the domains are clustered, and some of the domains are used. Some of the domain clusters are used for filtering and forwarding to do achieve AI learning process. The different methods of learning process are even domains are filtered. Sometimes domains and domain names and some other things are filtered to achieve a particular one. Transference or some other things, data and other things to optimize the whole thing, process of learning and things like that. That is also used. Okay. Google Cloud Machine Learning Engine. That is one of the major things that is available right now, and other things are all depend on specific target or domain. How do I create an AI? Okay, so for a machine, you say you have a drilling machine and you want to automate the drilling machine. Then you have different kinds of constraint. What is the kind speed constraint? Then you have what is the kind of tool bit you are going to use for that particular machine to do the how much of spinning, how much of voltage. These are all different kinds of constraint uses to achieve a particular goal of drilling a particular difference of the what type of material it is going to drill through and things like that, and it adjusts that whether it is possible or not. And once it knows all these things, then there's parametric for using vision and other IO methods. It is going to learn all this process and keep it in a storage or something like that, and then keep performing new things to invent new things, and then finding out new algorithm process. Okay, the basic algorithms that will be done is it is going to filter through each one of those constraints. That's all. Okay, so it's going to find the new methods of using those tools. So, what is the future of artificial intelligence? Artificial intelligence is shaping the future of humanity across nearly every industry. It is really the main driver of emergency technologies like big data, robotics, and IoT, and it will continue to act as a technological innovator for the foreseeable future. Why is AI so important? Today, the amount of data that is generated by both humans and machines far outpacing humans' ability to absorb, interpret, and make complex decisions based on that data. Artificial informs is for all computer learning the future of the complex decision making. So it is going to use the different methods of analysis. So we even Google use some kind of filtering and forwarding and things like that. So the basic methods of learning is do something to do with filtering and processing some other storing some of the information, and it knows where to use what. So even Google has those kind of things. Is Google is AI. Google search is a form of narrow AI. Okay, so there are different kinds of things, narrow AI and broad AI, as a predictive analysis of virtual assignments. Assistants, so kind of, or virtual assistants, predictive analytics. Okay, uh, a- artificial general intelligence would be the ability for machine to sense, think, and act just like a human. So, AGI is a higher level of AI. Okay, so if it is going to go up to the level of human, then it is going to be general intelligence. If it is going to go up to the level of normal things of predictive analysis, virtual assistants, they are all called normal AI. What are 10 ways AI used today? Here are the 10 ways plays an important role in human use. Voice assistant, entertainment, streaming apps, personalized marketing, smart input keyboards, navigation, travel, gamified therapy, self-driving vehicles, facial recognition technology. So right, currently AI is used in these kind of areas right now. But if once it expands, then new methods of learning all the different kinds of IO and creating new IO structures and other things can be used, and creating new types of processing methods and processors. Even if you do, processor optimization, shared memory optimization, and FPGA optimization, they are all used in some used by artificial intelligence. So these are the different kinds of things which you want to learn about artificial intelligence. So the basic thing is what filtering, forwarding, and using constraints. These are the different kinds of things that are used by artificial. So the basic level is finding a particular, say if we have, so it is going to use the particular thing of whether it is possible or not, and giving weighting methods to do. Methods weight is given depending on what amount of level of filtering on to achieve a particular goal. So if the amount of filtering is reduced, reduced, then it is higher intelligence. Okay, amount of filtering that is used is reduced, then it is called higher intelligence. Okay, so the amount of routing paths is reduced to a particular specific target, then it is called higher intelligence. Okay, or deep learning or something like that. Okay, probably this is the end of the lecture today to know about what is artificial intelligence, how to use them in your BSD systems or Unix kernels and other things for future versions of BSD systems and things like that. Okay, so basically operating system plus processor architecture is all. There are two things that are usually used. Okay, one is called simulation and emulation to do all these things. So the simulation emulation process is using most of the chip design, new chip design, new software design, new methods of processor architecture, bus architecture, memory architecture, and linking all them to the IO parts and other things. They help in doing new kinds of things. Okay, that is why you have to use all these kind of artificial intelligence. Okay, combining all these different methods is so the two things that usually artificial intelligence uses: simulation, emulate to learn something, and then finally, uh, you know, kind of coming into existence. In the sense like simulation emulation helps in the process of learning, and later it is going to use simulation emulation helps the process of defining new structure types and processor types and memory types, and then finally it is going to reduce the particular thing to a specific target achievement, and then when it is reached, then you can easily use that architecture for final versions of Unix or kind of other operating systems which can run. Even operating systems can be optimized kind of thing, and it can be learning new methods, new libraries. So some of the things like Microsoft and other things, they are working on server optimization and other things, learning of new libraries, finding out new libraries, creating new methods on the libraries, finding out fault tolerance in a particular library, and restructuring the DLLs, restructuring the ASM and things like that. They are also used in so learning. So if you have a fault in your system, and immediately it learns that particular fault in the system, re-analyzes the particular code, the particular code also re-evaluates the whole thing, and then finds a new algorithm or kind of plugins to do that work. So DLL will be changing some of the things. Okay, each time a new DLL will be created for kind of if you have any kind of problems, there are constraint based or other kinds of things based or interrupt based and things like that. So even the Microsoft DLLs, they keep changing, or the Unix SO files or other things, object files and other things. They might be library files might be changing every 5 hours or 10 hours depending on time constraints, because the operating system learns new things. Okay, as new libraries are created on a different form, and be based on how much of error that is coming in, based on how much of usage that is coming in, based on how different the new methods of machine architecture, everything is going to be used. Okay, so that much is enough for today about Unix operating system and other IO operating system, about artificial intelligence of the future of the uh, processing architecture and things like that. Okay, this is just a general overview so that you can have a rough idea how it will go and progress in the future of AI. So that is all for today about artificial intelligence and how it is used and what is the basic methods of filtering and forwarding, and what is the constraints and things like that. That's all for today.